her plans from Soweto to Lagos, Nairobi to the Cape. She's rewriting the stories they said she couldn't shape. Mom's rising in Africa.
This is Lerato Sitole, the founder of Think and Grow Rich Africa. I welcome you to another series of In Conversation with Greatness. The biggest question that I'm holding as I continue with this impactful, transformational conversation is, what makes the great great? Is it the title? Is it the achievement? Or is it rather a life lived and a journey walked? Today I am in conversation with Dr. Tracy Mmako, the specialist neurologist. I need you to note, the only one in the province of Mpumalanga. She's based in Nelspruit. She serves at Rob Ferreira Public Hospital and Mediclinic Private Hospital, and she runs her own practice. I'm saying these titles because we're going to find out, is it these titles that make her great, or is there another greater foundation? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Because we want to know, before she wore the white coat, before she carried the authority, was there something else that shaped her? We're going to go down memory lane to meet the young girl, to check if she knew what the future holds for her, what she dreamt of, how did she play, what did she say when she was playing. And we're going to get a lot more. I'm very excited to have her in this series, to have her in this conversation with greatness. Welcome to you, Dr. Tracy.
Thank you so much.
We are going to get a lot, because being the only neurologist in Mpumalanga, I am sure the journey has been a lot. But we know that there are people behind those white jackets. Dr. Tracy, take us back down this memory lane. Who is Tracy growing up, primary school, high school, and university? Just take us through.
Okay.
Take your time.
A young Tracy was a very timid, extremely shy girl who, according to African socialization, was a respectful girl, because you never look at an adult straight in their face, you never answer back when you are being spoken to, that kind of Tracy. As a firstborn daughter of my parents,
Firstborn daughter or firstborn child? Both?
Both.
Oh, both.
Both.
Okay.
A first child and a first daughter and a firstborn child. I was often, the resident example. So I needed to watch my every step, watch how I did in school, watch how I was faring when playing with other children. So that rendered me extremely not wanting to be out there playing with friends, because I felt like I had to put up a certain demeanor in order to be a good example for the younger siblings.
If I can interject you there,
Yes.
were you given rules to put up this demeanor? There is a firstborn thing. I'm really looking at it. I'm a firstborn myself. There's something about firstborns.
Yes.
But were you told to put up a certain demeanor, or you gathered? How did you know that you needed to be in a certain way, and then you made a choice to?
I gathered. I think you gather from conversations as parents talk to you, and you hear them talking about other kids, how those kids went wrong, and that kind of a thing. So you assume a certain demeanor because it is implied in the conversation. Let me put it like that. It was never a straightforward said to me that this is how you are supposed to act and this is not how you are supposed to act. But you assume it because of what you are hearing. So I ended up, I think the greatest pleasure of my childhood was me learning how to read. Because that gave me a beautiful escape.
Yeah.
It gave me a beautiful escape. I didn't have to go out there and get myself in trouble. I could just be home, do what I'm expected to do, go to school, come back home, and then just immerse myself in knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that is what shaped my early years, at least up until to the point where I got to high school, because in those younger years, I remember vividly the dream that I had of being a doctor. And I held on to that dream from the age of 6. I didn't really know.
6
Yes,
already.
from the age of 6.
What did you see? What was there to trigger that?
Just to give a bit of background, in my mother's family, 100% of my mother's siblings, maybe except for one, so maybe we can say 99% are teachers.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And in my father's family, him and his eldest brother are the only two that were never teachers. So
Also, in your father's family, they were also teachers?
Yes.
Okay.
They were all teachers, except for my father and his eldest brother. So my father working in healthcare, it meant he had a lot of connectedness to hospitals, to doctors, and things like that. And I mentioned the age of 6 because that is the first time I remember not feeling well, and my father deciding that it was not just enough for him to ask a colleague for a script and then buy me the medication and bring it home to me. He decided at that time that, okay, we are going to go together to town, and you are going to see a doctor. So I went there. The doctor I saw, very tall, white gentleman who spoke Afrikaans with my dad, which I didn't know how to speak. But of course, I was taken by his demeanor. You know, I just felt like he looked like he was living his best life. You know, he looked like he was passionate about the work that he was doing in that small private practice that he had.
Yeah.
So from then on, I kept saying to my dad, no, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. And I think to both my parents, they thought that maybe the older I get,
you will change.
I will change my mind. You know, I will change my mind. And that changing mind never came. It never came.
So was it just you going to the doctor and seeing the doctor in the practice that got this thing cemented in your heart of you being a doctor, or were there other additional
the additional things
incidents
were
or experiences?
The way in which even at a young age I was so drawn to the person who was not feeling well. You know, simple acts of kindness that came naturally to me without me having to put too much thought into them. Like, you go to the shop and you find the old granny who is not able to climb that high stair there. And then you hold her hand. When she's coming out, you help her carry her bags and you accompany her to someone else who would then take over from you. I think those are the things that shaped young Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
To be helpful, even to my own siblings, to my parents when they were not feeling well. You know, in a child's heart, at 12, to offer to make your mother tea because you can see that she's having the flu, it is still an act of nurturing, an act of care, and it is on a bigger scale what I do today.
So you the making the tea was based on the fact that she's not feeling well.
Yes.
Because you could make her tea because you make her tea.
She could ask me for tea.
Yes.
Which is what our mothers usually do when they come back from work. They would say, make me some tea, and you would make it. But when she's not feeling okay and she's sitting on her bed and she's telling you that, hey, today I'm not feeling okay because of ABC, and you, out of your own free will, go and make her tea without her having to ask you for it, I think that is what shaped the young me.
So medicine, you being a doctor, has always been there, and it never left.
It never left.
You also spoke about loving to read. Was it also during the same time? And what was the combination of the doctor part and kind of escaping into
I think
books?
at 6, I was not yet aware of how far reading would take me. So I just loved it. I was drawn to it. And at some point in primary school, I remember that we were doing a little bit of creative writing.
Yeah.
Now that I call it, I don't know what we used to call it at those times.
Well, different times. Let me not even try mine because it's in a different. Okay, let's not do that. Yeah.
So
Might still
I
say
think
it wrong.
when I was in primary school, I entered a certain competition where we were chosen to be the ones to write a certain story, and the story would be judged by teachers and stuff like that. So I was able to write stories even at a young age because I was very well read. So you read, so many writers have so many different styles of writing, and then you sort of develop your own style of writing from that. So reading for me was much more than something that I thought would make me a doctor, but it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And I only got to learn when I got to med school that to be a doctor, you need to do quite a lot of reading.
Actually studying.
Yes.
More than reading.
More than you
more
have
than
to
reading.
study. There is so much for you to remember.
Yeah. And your high school, so that was you in your primary school, your high school, and just the continuation of being shaped by the two things: you loving to read, you being drawn to anything health related.
Yes. I continued to be shaped that way, and in high school, I think I was helped a lot by a couple that was my mother's friends, because I was studying in a town far from home, so I was in a boarding school, and some of the education we received was delivered to us in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it is delivered in Afrikaans, and you are going to write a paper in English, and you are a Mopedi speaking girl. So the combination was just not going to work out. So my mother asked her friends to at least give me extra lessons over weekends, so that they can deliver the subject to me in English, which was a language that I was much more comfortable with. So the two of them actually helped me a lot in that. The husband in that couple was a maths and science teacher, a very brilliant man.
Right.
And I figured if you want to be a doctor, the going norm is that you must be good at maths and physics.
Oh, yeah.
You must be good at maths and physics, and everybody forgets the biology. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
So yes, so he helped me with maths and science. The biology, for me, biology, I looked at it like a story. So I read it like a story, and because it was something that I loved, I tend to remember it. So that was my high school. Unfortunately, by the time I finished my matric, my results were not as I expected them.
Right.
So that meant I didn't have a straightforward entrance into medicine.
Right.
So that is another part of my young life where I had to persevere through something that I didn't know, entering varsity, that a course like that even existed. So I started by doing a Bachelor of Science. And I think the best thing that the Bachelor of Science did for me, it taught me endurance, it taught me patience, and it also gave me an opportunity to experience my second love, which is the mind, because I majored in psychology during my Bachelor of Science. So by the time I entered medicine, I was a well-rounded psychologist, actually, because I needed that time in my life to be able to talk myself into going into another degree. While
So when you didn't get results good enough for you to go straight into the dream that you had of doing medicine, what were the conflicted conversations, if there were, you know, conflicted conversation? Because now you wanted this and now you're taking something else. I'm just thinking of that happens a lot.
Yes.
But other people give up. They even if they don't give up, they lose the passion
Yes.
and continue then with whatever they get just to get a degree, and some totally give up. If you can just like maybe tell us how you felt comfortable to do the bachelor. You did it for 3 years.
Yes, I did it for
So
the
you
full
didn't
3 years.
actually even you covered the whole thing.
Yes.
Even if it was not your heart, you found the positive in it.
Yes.
I'd like to hear how you survived that.
I think it is important for me to acknowledge that when those results came, before anybody else even looked at my statement of results, I looked at them myself and I already knew that, okay, these results are not going to be enough for what I want to do, because obviously you have applied, you know the minimum requirements, and you can see right off the bat that, okay, these results are not going to be good enough. And in that moment, I didn't have an option B. So as broken as I was, I entertained thoughts like, okay, maybe I should upgrade my matric, or maybe I should go back and just do another full matric, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because I was young enough, my age was going to allow me, because by the time I finished my matric, I was 16.
Okay.
So,
how did you finish that quickly? Some of us, you had let's not let's not
go
over
into
express,
that.
but why did you jump grades, or you started early?
I skipped 2 grades because I started those 2 grades with my peers, and somewhere before the end of the first term, the teacher in that grade thought, okay, this child is functioning at a higher level. Maybe she would be better off doing the next grade.
Okay.
So then in term 2, then I would move to the next grade and then finish that grade with the people that I would have found in the class.
Okay.
So at that 16, I thought, you know what, it might not be a bad idea to just go
and
back
redo.
and redo a matric.
Yeah.
And when I met my father now after taking the results,
Yes.
he looked at the results and he was like, okay, these results are good. We are going to take you to varsity either way. Whether you get to have entrance into medicine or you don't, but you will get entrance into something at university. So he didn't allow for me to entertain the thought any
going
longer
back.
of going back to matric.
Right.
So went to varsity. When we got there, on the place where they were allocating, there was something called career guidance or something like that.
Yeah,
on that first week where people were looking for spaces for different courses. So the lady who helped me said to me, listen, because these results don't qualify for medicine as they are, do a Bachelor of Science, because most people who do not qualify for medicine actually do a Bachelor of Science for 1 year. And if you get the best results, then you can apply to enter medicine the following year. So that was the plan.
Yeah.
When I started my Bachelor of Science. So studied really hard that first year, considering that I had the shell shock of being away from people that I know. And still, my first year results were not bad, but they were not good enough
for you
for me to jump. So that having happened, then I decided, okay, maybe I am meant to finish this degree and see where it takes me. But never at any point did I ever lose focus of the fact that
you want to be a doctor.
This is not the be it and end all.
Right.
I just looked at every other step as a step closer to going to medicine. I never looked at it as, oh, I'm so delayed, or maybe I should change my mind. Maybe this is
Yeah.
not, this is not for me. Because you can imagine a dream that you have held on to from the age
Yeah.
of 6.
Yeah. And now it almost like it's disappearing.
Yeah, it's almost like it's escaping you. It is the most frustrating thing. But I was fortunate to be able to keep my focus.
How do you do that?
And I think that goes to, even then when I was younger, I didn't know what it is called.
Yeah.
I just thought I'm an ambitious lady.
Yeah.
I am very determined, and I am a type A personality, and I believe that nothing can beat me. If I put my mind to it, I will definitely get there. I didn't know that even then I was practicing my positive thinking.
Okay.
I didn't know. I only discover now
that it's
when
got
I'm 40
names.
that it's actually having a name.
It has a name.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I completed that Bachelor of Science, and like I said, psychology was my outlet, because in psychology you are still helping people. It's just that you are helping them in a different sphere than the doctor in a white coat who's got an injection and a prescription of antibiotics.
Yeah.
Right? But you are helping people deal with the challenges of their minds.
Of their mind. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, of
Yeah.
their minds. So I found that very enjoyable. And that gave me that assurance that I am much more closer. So it didn't give me the enough space for me to give up on that dream. Completed the degree, and I got the degree cum laude actually for that psychology.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, you've got a distinction in this thing, so it should be easy, right, to enter medicine. I was,
So you didn't stop to practice psychology, because that was a park station. It was not home yet.
it was not home.
So you
it
went,
was not home.
yeah.
I didn't stop to go into the market and try and practice psychology. No, I didn't do that, because to be a psychologist, particularly a clinical psychologist in this country, after you finish your bachelor's, if a Bachelor of Science is what you did, you need to do an honors and a master's before you are allowed to be a clinical psychologist. So I stopped there momentarily so that I could apply again to enter into medicine. I applied, and yet again, for the third time, I was not accepted into medicine. And now I'm at varsity. But I am in no course, right?
So, but and while you were applying, did it matter to you that you already have done 3 years, and you are not stopping? You're going to start something with people that just came from university who got direct access, and it's gonna need another how many years?
Another 6.
Another 6 years. So you were okay with the?
I was not focusing on the time.
Okay.
I was not focusing on the time.
It was just the dream and what you wanted.
And I have definitely never been a person who would look at the person who is sitting in the chair next to me.
Wow.
I was always extremely focused on myself.
Wow.
Because I found that if I compared myself with other people. Remember that in that Bachelor of Science group of people, there are people who were accepted to medicine after first year. There were people who were accepted for medicine after second year. And there were people who were admitted to medicine immediately after finishing their third year. I wasn't. Okay. So I needed to be focused on myself to a selfish degree, because if I had to look at another person, that is one sure way of getting discouraged.
Yeah.
I just felt like, you know what, if I start the doomsday parade on myself and say, oh my goodness, everybody is getting into this thing and I'm not, it means this is not for me, I must change and go. I think if I had focused on other people, that is what would have become of me. But I was extremely focused on myself. And God bless my parents because they allowed me to dream. Even in the midst of negativity, they still allowed me to dream.
Yeah.
They always just kept saying, no, it will come to you at the right time. When it is your time, it will come. So because I wasn't registered, I have this degree. I'm supposed to prepare for graduation in the next couple of months, but I'm like,
and you're not going home.
I'm at the university because I just asked myself the question, how is going home going to help me? I wanted to walk amongst the people who are doing what I wanted to do. I needed to walk with them.
The dream was alive.
The dream was
passion.
alive. So for as long as I was walking the passages and streets of the university, I would still meet a person who is doing first year medicine.
Burning desire. That's what I call it.
Exactly.
That burning desire.
Yes, I would still meet them and rub shoulders with them. I would make friends with them. And other people I would meet who had a more difficult story than my own. And when we are talking to each other, it was a way of me feeling consistently, reassured
that this is possible.
That I'm not dreaming in vain. And
hold on to your dreams. It reminds me of that song, Children, hold on to your
dreams.
Yeah.
So I ended up that year looking at the fact that time was not exactly with me in terms of the closure of registration for that particular year. Then I decided I'm going to register for an honors in psychology.
In psychology, okay.
So I registered for my honors and I attended my class. I mean, that department was very sweet department. They were happy to have me because, I passed their course with distinction, so they didn't have a problem accepting me into the honors program. I started the honors program and I told myself I'm going to commit to this because the application had already gone. I was no longer in control of what happens with that application.
Yes.
So far, I hadn't gotten in. So I carried on with my honors program, and I think it was somewhere in the beginning of March where they took out the last list of people who were accepted for the medicine program for that year. Meaning if you had made a list later than that, it would mean you would then join the medicine program the following year. So that was the list where I was, finally selected.
That's after you were done with honors?
No.
Oh, in the first year of honors,
the first term of honors.
All right.
Then I received a call, and the lady at student admins, I remember what she said. She said to me, but I see here on the system that you have already registered and collected your books for psychology. Do you want me to cancel your acceptance, or will you jump from that class to this one? Remember that the people have already started and they are already getting ready for their term 1 examinations. I said to her, well, it means term 1 examinations it is for me, because I am going to leave this class and I'm going to join the class that I've always wanted to join. So I joined, I think, a week or so before the first anatomy test. Now, you are talking to someone who was studying the mind. Now,
so the anatomy test?
It's like parts of the body.
But it's now in the medicine
it's in the medicine faculty.
Okay.
Which is like chalk and cheese from psychology, by the way. And I only had that week to register, to find notes, order textbooks, and still be prepared for the test. And I didn't know anyone in that class, of course. Because all the people that I had known from BSc had far flown past first year. So I joined, and I didn't, they offered that I could be excused from the first test, but obviously I couldn't allow that. So I spent that week completely immersing myself in anatomy. And that is how I did my first year. Not necessarily, it was not first year for medicine, but it was second year for medicine, but first year for me in the medicine program. So I went through that year. It was a very difficult year.
Yeah.
Because it was a year of adjustment and in many ways a year of grief, which I didn't acknowledge to myself at that time.
Grieving what?
Grieving what could have been, because you finally enter the medicine class and you look back at what you have been through to get there.
Yeah. What
And
it cost you.
What
to
it
get
cost
there.
you simply just think. I mean, I remember that there was a couple of months there where I thought the 3 years of BSc was a complete waste of my time, because I was looking at the content that I needed to learn in medicine and how different it was
from
a Bachelor of Science. So I needed to get myself through that, whether I can call it regret or what,
Yeah.
but it was not something that I was completely in control of.
So you had to grieve that.
Yes, I had to grieve that period.
Yeah.
And because of that grief, that second year where I entered medicine, I didn't make it. I completely failed that whole year because I was struggling to imagine myself being there. I was really struggling, from someone who passed a Bachelor of Science cum laude to someone who fails there. It's like you're talking about two different people, right?
So talk to me about the struggle. You were struggling to see yourself there. What does that mean?
Every single person that was in that class was completely different from me.
Okay.
I couldn't identify with them because these were people that were free. They were chosen at first glance. So you had to get yourself into getting out of the mind of having been rejected multiple times in
Only
order to
then
get,
do you yeah.
try to question your worth.
Your worth.
That am I even worthy to
be
with
here?
these people?
Wow.
Here, right now, in
Yeah.
this moment,
Yeah.
am I worthy?
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, I was probably amongst the oldest people in the class.
Okay.
Because remember, when I started my Bachelor of Science,
You were 17 or 16.
I was 16. So meaning I started medicine at 20, when everybody else starts at 17 or 18, depending on when you passed your matric.
Oh, you were the oldest now.
So now I moved from being the baby of the class
To being the
big sister.
Oh.
And I wasn't really ready to be anybody's big sister because I had nothing that I could offer them as a big sister. I couldn't set an example for anyone. So that was the struggle of my first year of medicine. And I always remember, the conversations I used to have with myself. I'm one person, I talk to myself a lot.
Looking at yourself in the mirror or just by yourself?
I look at myself in the mirror. I look through open windows and I talk to myself. And
out loud or just in
out loud?
Okay.
I talk to myself because I want to hear it
from you,
from me. I don't want to hear it from another person before I have said it to myself. So
That's
it
powerful.
goes. So it goes for positive words, and it also goes for negative words. Because I am most times my own worst critic.
So what was that conversation now when you talk to yourself?
The conversation I had with myself was, I liken it to a conversation of a parent scolding a child. I talked to myself as my own mother to say, you've always wanted to be here. Now that you are here, why are you not happy? Why are you not giving it the best shot that you can? And why now, all of a sudden, are you becoming a shrinking violet? So that was the conversation I had with myself. I could already see that the year had gone, so there was not much that I was going to do to change the results at the end of the day. And I remember before I started exams, I called my dad and I told him, Baba, I failed this year. And then my dad's response was like, it's okay. Come home and you'll try it again next year, and next year it will be
Wow,
different.
what a father.
Yeah, because he knew in that moment that I had given it everything that I had. He knew that I was not one to just let go and say, oh, now that I'm here, it's a party. You know, I still gave it my best shot. I attended. I was everywhere where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be.
Because he's seen you. He knows you.
He's seen me, and he knows me, that even if he puts me in a degree where I didn't want to be there, I didn't even know what that degree was, I would still give it my best shot. So I think for him, he knew that I had tried. You know, he didn't have the need to scold me like I scolded myself, which was
Did it help you when you scolded yourself?
it gave me a
After scolding, did you respond? Because you know your mom. Did you respond as Tracy?
No, I didn't respond. I just did the scolding.
How did Tracy receive it when you scolded her?
I received it, and I shared a bucket load of tears, and I decided that I am now going to talk to myself in the way that I know that I am. So I took a moment of crying and all that negative emotion coming, because the situation was, of course, negative.
Yes.
But after that was done and dusted, you can only cry so much, right? After
Right.
that was done and dusted, I
Yes.
still had to be in conversation with myself.
Again.
Yes, again. And the conversation then changed from how can you fail at this to you didn't know what a Bachelor of Science was.
And yet you passed.
And yet you passed,
Right.
and you were a cum laude in a subject.
Right.
No one helped you get there. You got the same shot as everyone, but you still made it top of your class.
Right.
So are you going to allow this singular failure to define the rest of your journey going forward?
Yeah.
Or are you
Yeah.
going to just shake the dust off and carry on to do what you know you can do? So went to...
Did you answer that time?
No, it was not a question.
It was a rhetorical.
It was,
What is it?
it was a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
It didn't require an answer. It was just me, in a way, affirming myself that that spot is mine and I need to take it and make the best of it.
And what remained, because you had the conversation of scolding yourself, then you've got this other conversation. After both conversation, what remained in your heart and in your mind? Which one remained?
The reassuring conversation remained.
Sure.
Because I felt that if I were to embrace, accept, and commit to memory that failure, then I am inviting other failures in the journey ahead.
Yeah.
And remember, that was only second year. I still needed to get to year 6.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I came the following year, clean mind, and I started again, you know. And
so what kept you going? Is it did you continue to see yourself in that white coat still? What kept you going?
I didn't have the ability to see myself as anything different. I think that is an important thing. I couldn't see myself as any other thing. You know, some of the people that I did my Bachelor of Sciences with now have Masters of Science in something. They are working for pharmaceutical companies. Some of them are working for botanical companies. Some, you know, the playing fields were wide open. I could have chosen another thing.
Right.
I struggled with believing myself to be any other thing except what that 6-year-old dreamed of. So that kept me very grounded.
Yeah.
And it kept me very humble.
Yeah.
Because I still did, I knew that I needed to be that. And I had already summoned through the years that I've traveled that it was not going to be an easy journey to get there. So it helps to be humble.
Right. You know, you're reminding me of, I did mention the burning desire.
Yes.
but maybe it's easy when I just say burning desire, but it is fired up.
Yes.
It is pumped up by fire.
it is
if
pumped
I have to
up,
put,
yes.
and my belief, and with the work that I do in Think and Grow Rich Africa, is when you have that pumped up, as you are saying, there is no adversity, there's no challenge, there's no failure that will move you away from that focus.
Exactly.
Because you know exactly what you are gunning for, you know exactly what you want.
Yes.
So it's easy to answer the question, what is it that you want the most in life? And that is what you wanted the most in life.
That is what I
and
wanted.
Nothing
Nothing else
was going to stop you.
I couldn't imagine myself as any other thing. I was not prepared for any other outcome.
Right.
If I can just put it like that, I was not prepared for any other outcome.
And here we thought that you are this neurologist, you just went right through it because you had it all. And
These intelligent people,
Yeah.
they just fly through everything.
right.
No.
So then the following year you went back.
Then the following year I went back and I flew through that year.
You had to repeat the previous
Yes,
year.
I had to repeat the previous
Yeah.
year, so I flew through it, and I didn't. The other thing that I did for myself is that I went through a ceremony of burning things, right?
Okay, what
So
is that?
I failed the year, so that meant that whatever notes I had written for myself, whatever articles I had printed, or whoever else's notes they had borrowed me, they didn't work, right? So
Right.
when I went home at the end of that year, I got home and I took all those papers. You are a notebook, you are an exam pad, you are a printed piece of paper.
Bent it.
I bent them.
Wow. What does that,
And
what is the psychology of
psycholo-
seeing that you've done psychology? What's the
Yes.
psychology of
the
burning?
psychology for me was that I didn't want to start the new year with reminders of last year's failure.
Almost.
So I needed for the papers to be fresh and the pen to be new. It was almost like a mind game that I was
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
with myself.
right.
That I had to get into a state of pretending that I'm doing this for the very first time, and everything should appear new. So I burned all those notes.
Wow.
I only preserved my textbooks because those are the ones that I'm going
Yeah.
to use. And then I went back to school and I started afresh.
So-
Bought all new stationery,
Yeah.
all new.
All
Paper
new
was
ev-
new. All new.
Feels like you can't put new wine in old wineskin.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I went through that year with a similar amount of positivity that I had talked myself into. And I always used to say to myself, you cannot fail twice.
Yeah.
The first failure is a lesson, and then after that, you are learning to be a master. So that
like
is what
that.
I did in that second year. So I passed that, and the rest of the journey of medicine was extremely difficult. I think I thought that the non-clinical years of medicine are the toughest because I was coming from a background of being a scientist. right?
Yes.
So I learned when I was there in the clinical years that the clinical years actually require you to have a more positive mindset than the non-clinical.
Can you explain the difference to some
The
of us who don't
difference
know what's the clinical and
difference
non-clinical?
is the first 3 years of medicine. You are learning theory. You are not interacting with patients.
Or the first 3 years.
And you are not interacting with doctors. The people that teach you those first 3 years of medicine are actually people who have studied science, not necessarily doctors. Doctors do come and visit.
Okay.
So it was like almost
So it's a lot of theory.
Yeah, it's a lot of theory. So it was almost a continuation of how we used to learn in the Bachelor of Science.
Yeah.
Because you are taught by scientists. So by the time you reach 4th year, that's when you start interacting with doctors and patients.
Patients. Right.
And now you are living a life that looks like that of a doctor. And I think I thought that it was going to be easier because it's something that has always fascinated me since from when I was young. But what I remember particularly in my 4th year was rotating in forensic medicine. Yeah. It was like being poured with a bucket of cold water while you are walking.
Yeah.
Because when I think about medicine, you can hear from the beginning as I'm talking about what I think a doctor does.
Yes.
I thought it's about nurturing people that are alive.
Okay.
They are alive. You want to get them better so that they can continue living in a healthy way. Right? Forensic medicine, your patient is not alive.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Why did they start you there? Or do they always start there, or was it?
It was a blog, and unfortunately, because when you are doing the clinical years, you are chopped down into groups.
Oh.
It was the luck of the draw that my group had to start there, right? And I remember we started our blog on a Monday, and we went to a lecture hall because we thought that is where we are supposed to go. And this guy called a mortician is someone who works in the mortuary,
Okay.
came to come
They have
and
a name.
Yes.
First time I hear it.
Yes. He came to pick us up from the lecture hall, and he said it in such a joking manner. He was a middle-aged gentleman, and he looked at us like we were small babies, you know? And he said to us, "Oh, you still think you are small and you are sitting nicely in the lecture hall expecting someone to come with slides. Stand up. We are going where the real action is. You said you guys wanted to be doctors. Let us go where the real action is."
Do they give you are you now given the white coat yet?
Yes.
Or this is the first time you
No,
put
we
it?
were expected to wear our white coats actually from first year.
Okay.
So we get there. It's the government's mortuary for people who passed away from unnatural causes.
Ooh, okay.
So your car accidents, your assaults, poisoning, and all that kind of thing. And as we enter, you are just met by this very distinct smell.
Are there no fridges? So like put them.
No,
is it
remember that is the fridges are at the back, and you are here in the front where you are supposed to say what was the cause of death of this person.
Marakere, they come from the fridge to.
Yes, they are cold. They come from the fridge to you.
Okay, the smell.
So you are met by there's a very distinct smell, and to date, that smell is now I'm used to it because I've worked for years, but it always just gives you that little bit of shock. Yeah, it gives you that little bit of shock to be in the midst of that smell. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we had to observe our first post-mortem, and now the person who is doing the post-mortem is a doctor. He specialized in forensic medicine. So he was there to teach us how things go in that department. And I remember when we left that dissection hall and we were walking to go and get lunch, you know, I remember going to those payphones and calling my dad. I called my dad and I said to him, "Papa, I think I made a mistake. I thought this medicine thing, they are only supposed to show us people that are alive
and sick, yeah.
that are alive and sick, so that we can make a real difference. How does it help us to see people that are not alive?" My father was like, "Oh, okay, it's okay. Just take your time and digest what you have seen today and sleep on it. And then tomorrow I'll give you a call and you'll tell me if you still think you made a mistake." So
how was the session without telling us because I'm already
no,
but how was
the session, to put it mildly, was traumatic. Because I realized later when I got my chance to do postmortems, that there is no gentleness in a postmortem, because you are a person in need of answers. So if you can think that if this is a person that I know and I love, and I have to watch them be cut like this, no. For most human hearts, it's difficult to handle that kind of thing. So we were still very naive at that time, because it was our first year in clinical medicine. We hadn't come across, for me it was the first time in my life looking at someone who is not alive. I hadn't seen it before in my life, so it was a bit of a shocker. So
Wow.
it made me question my choices there for a little bit. But by the time
You slept over it?
I slept over it. By the time I woke up tomorrow morning, I was chatting with the group of friends that I was working with. I was like, yeah, well, today we are not scared, because today is not the first time. Yesterday was the first time. We were hella scared. I remember when we went for lunch, all of the ladies decided we are not going to eat beef, because the meat that we saw in that postmortem resembled beef to us, having never seen an open human body before. So and a lot of people were turned off of stew for a couple of weeks, but we lived. We lived. So
But your decision remained. You still
this
is what you want.
I still forged ahead, because that is what I wanted. That group passed, and I had to go to other clinical groups that were much more enjoyable, because they were showing us what kind of life we would have when we eventually finish. So
that was 6 years?
Yeah, that was 6 years, and I finished. Yeah.
And you got what you wanted.
I got what I wanted.
6 plus 4.
No,
10.
6 plus 3. It was 9.
Oh, it was 9.
Because I started off in second year, because they credited me for the 3 years of BSc.
Sure. Okay,
so
it was
9 years later, I was done.
So, wow, that was that needs a lot of perseverance.
Yes.
Consistency. Can you define any maybe your principle? I mean, you've spoken about a lot, but is there one that you say this is the one that held you?
What held
of value?
me, what I value the most is the 6-year-old Tracy, who dreamt a pure dream.
Wow.
It was pure.
Yeah.
It was not influenced by anything.
Yeah.
No one said you are not worth it at 6. And I think that is what held me through.
I think you are very blessed, because first, some people don't remember their 6-year-old self because it was busy.
Yes.
And secondly, I think they didn't have a dream, because life maybe was different.
Yes.
Maybe the home environment, the situation was different. Yeah. So I count you amongst the blessed.
Yes.
Although those blessings didn't come without you having to stand your ground.
Yes.
To stay focused and to believe and hold on to that dream.
Yes.
Yeah. So now 9 years. In the 9 years of you studying, is Tracy having another life? Is she only about studying and books?
I mean, I was only about studying and books probably for the first 4 years of varsity, because I still, in my mind, counted myself young. And I felt like, these old men that are here, even if I thought of dating, these people are grandfathers. That was my silliness of youth. Yeah, but definitely when I was doing medicine, I was dating. And I found myself not being able to take dating very seriously.
What was that?
Because I felt that it was a distraction. That is number one. And number two, I I still was influenced by the women that I found around in my life.
Yeah.
In that time, women who were dating, falling pregnant meant the end of their dreams. And I wasn't willing
To have that.
to play that sort of casino.
Especially after you've had to pay such a high price.
After I've paid such a high price to get there, I didn't want to self-sabotage. So I used to have really shallow relationships. And I was fortunate enough to get a cell phone when I was in varsity. And I was still that girl who, when I went to classes, I would switch off my cell phone and leave it in the room.
Yeah.
And when I was writing exams, my cell phone would be off for the entire exam time.
Period. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, but I was fortunate in that I think the people that the person that I was dating didn't take me seriously.
Oh, okay. So, and you were probably both studying.
We were both studying, and he was also focused on other things, and he was older. So he looked at me as childish because I was inexperienced in terms of dating, because most people start dating when they are in high school.
Yeah.
I was well in varsity by the time I decided, okay, maybe let's see what this is all about. So I finished medicine being as single as ever.
Oh, so until you finished.
Yeah. I was
you
single. I was having, this sort of platonic, going nowhere kind of relationship where we would talk when I had the time to talk.
Yeah, when it's convenient.
Yeah, when it's convenient for me. When I was bored, like, the time in between when you finish writing your exams and when you get your results.
You're like, I've got somebody special that can just focus on me.
They can just focus on me. And we still enjoyed going to the movies at that time. We'd go and watch a movie or go and have a meal somewhere outside the varsity. That was my idea of dating.
So being a dreamer, and you dreamt, I mean, we've like now gotten the really encouraging journey that you've shared with us. You dreamt of yourself as a doctor, and you fought through. Was anything related to family, to motherhood, to relationship? So did you just date, or was it somewhere a dream somewhere at any point?
I will tell you, I never dreamed of being married. That is very weird. Never ever dreamt of being married. Those childhood dreams.
Yes, I had them.
That
was my biggest dream. I never dreamt of being. Mine was like, I want to be a mother. I want to have 5 children. I want to. At my 6-year-old, that was it. And I don't know if.
For me, I didn't have that dream. Hey, what I acknowledged after I finished studying medicine, was that fulfillment to me would mean having my career and being a mother. But I never...
there was no marriage. There was a mother.
I never entertained the whole marriage thing.
Oh, okay. But the mother appeared, but only after the 9 years.
After the 9 years,
the mother appeared. Yeah, the motherhood part appeared.
I thought, I've done this thing the right way. Yeah. So now, if I were to have a child, no one would look at me funny.
But the marriage part was skipped.
But
there was
the
a
marriage
child
part was not there because I was never able to take the dating thing serious. Right? And after I finished, I then started dating. When I dated seriously, then that's when I got married. And realizing during that dating how difficult it is for me to switch gear from this girl who always wanted to be a doctor to this one now who has to be domesticated and all that. It was a very strange concept.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I got married to someone who, in terms of dating, he was much more experienced than me. So I always thought of myself as an amateur in my first marriage, because I didn't know how how people actually intertwine their lives to each other. It was very strange for me. I still wanted to be able to make my own decisions, carve my own path, and he must do the same parallel to me.
Yeah.
And then we will meet over pleasantries.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as this is,
Yeah,
one
the
life
two
now.
become
The
one
two
kind of
become
one,
one.
however we interpret it.
However we interpret it, it was a very difficult adjustment for me. And not to really say anything against him, but I don't think he had the character to be able to support me out of my amateurhood. So that is what basically made the marriage difficult, despite the fact that we got married, and after we got married, I thought the most natural thing to happen is you get married, then you have a baby, right?
Yeah, but because you had dreamt of motherhood already.
That is what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, in fact, marriage was okay.
It was
but the motherhood
a
is
roundabout thing.
Yeah, but the motherhood
so
is
I
what...
thought to myself, to be a mother, I need to be married, so that I would have said I did everything in the right order, right?
Yes.
So I got married, and when it came time to now have children, I started a whole new struggle. I didn't know how I got myself into that struggle.
How come now? I mean, you
Because
married?
I'm married now, and babies are not coming.
And that was that a... Well, I'm going to go back to the fact that you dream about things and you want what you dream.
Yes.
Like there's almost nothing can stop you. So
nothing can stop
the
me.
other dream outside of you doing medicine and being a doctor is
Was
being
to
a
be a
mother.
mother.
Yeah.
So
we have the consequence of being married, but we can put it
the
aside.
consequence of being married was there, but motherhood was the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
So I realized, after a year of trying, that okay, maybe I need to look at it in another way. So, being a doctor is in many ways a blessing and a curse. And I'll tell you why I say that. We often, when we meet our own health struggles,
Yes.
we often think we can doctor ourselves out of them.
Yeah.
And in that way, we waste a whole lot of time that we could have gotten help from a colleague in that time.
Right.
So eventually I decided, okay, let me go and see a specialist. I wanted to choose someone that I don't know.
Seeing that you're in the industry.
Seeing that I'm in the industry. So I went and I saw this gentleman, and I explained my part, that, okay, we are waiting for motherhood out here, and motherhood seems to be elusive. And he said to me, well, because you say you've been trying for a year, it means then we have to take a deeper look into it. So one blood test after another, an ultrasound after another, and then eventually at the end of everything, he said to me, well, it's going to be very difficult for you to fall pregnant, if you ever fall pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So that's what he said. And then
if you ever fall pregnant,
it's going
that
to be very...
How does that land with your dream?
That landed very heavily, because remember, at that time, I didn't have books to hide behind. I didn't have... I had nothing that could cushion the blow of those words, So that was a really difficult period for me. And not being all into marriage, I didn't exactly know how to get support from my husband. So I enveloped the entire thing into myself, and I just started another process of saying, you struggled with worthiness to get to medicine. Now you are going to have the same struggle of worthiness to get to motherhood. And I thought to myself, you know what? Motherhood is the most natural thing. Most female bodies can do the thing without any encouragement.
Yes.
And I started to wonder to myself, oh, maybe I should have been a man,
Okay.
Maybe I should.
So you're back into that, am I worthy? Can I do it? Is this,
And because of that, I ended up being in a marriage, just for the sake of trying to prove that I can have a baby if I want, you know, because I don't think he even knew how to counsel me
In that situation.
because it's something that
Did you blame yourself? Did you take all the burden onto yourself?
I blamed myself for a good amount of time until such a time where the doctor's visits got to a point where the doctor decided, okay, we have to try some medical ways to help you to fall pregnant.
Yes.
So I started taking that treatment from my doctor, and after that I fell pregnant.
Okay.
The part that made marriage even more difficult is after I fell pregnant the first time, then I had a miscarriage.
Oh, wow.
And then I moved from self-blame
Yeah.
to blaming him. Because in my mind, I thought, okay, I managed to get pregnant, and then you made me get a miscarriage.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened, but it was a mental conversation
Yes.
that I was having with myself.
Yes.
So,
Oh, you didn't speak it out loud. It was
no, I couldn't speak to him.
okay.
I couldn't speak to him. And the reason I couldn't speak to him was because even going to the doctors, I used to prefer to go on my own because I didn't want the extra judgment. Like I said, he was a much more experienced
Okay.
person in
Yes.
terms of dating and
Yeah.
whatever, and he had children before I met him.
Right.
So
So
for
it was
him,
your struggle alone.
for him,
Yeah.
it was like,
It's
I
another
know I'm not the problem.
Ah.
You are the problem, and now you want to be a mother. Whether I am a father to your child or not,
I'm a father
I'm
anyway.
a father anyway.
I see.
So
I see.
that created a lot of resentment for me because I felt that it should have been just as important for him to fulfill my dream of being a mother. So post miscarriage, I decided, okay, let me take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
I took a break, and I thought, in taking this break, I want to actually work on my marriage.
Right.
So,
Right.
marriage being a thing of two people,
Yeah.
it is difficult to work on a marriage
Alone.
because brother was checked out. For him, the goal was for me to be a mother, to prove that we are truly married.
Yeah.
And in the absence of that, he didn't see that there would be any value in nurturing the marriage in any other way. So that was a difficult thing.
Yeah.
But we ended up, going, well, me maybe, going to psychology. And at the psychologist, I got to learn a little bit more about myself, that
Right.
I shouldn't necessarily direct the blame of a miscarriage to him,
Yes.
rather than just saying it's one of the things that happens.
Yeah.
Many people
Go through it. Yeah.
And therefore I shouldn't necessarily blame him
Yeah.
that much that it would affect the entire marriage.
But what about you?
I had to grieve that part, and after that miscarriage, I think I had one of those conversations with myself where I asked myself, what would my life be like if I was never able to have children? And I had to answer that question for myself. Would that mean I am less worthy than
Yes.
the next woman who was able to give children in her marriage?
Yeah.
Would that mean I am less of a woman and therefore I have nothing to contribute to a romantic relationship with someone? And going through that process on your own means the person that you are married to is lost. Because they don't know what you're going through,
Yes.
right? Because that is a conversation
That you're having with yourself.
You are having with yourself.
Yes.
So then after that, I decided, okay, I've taken my break. I've gone for counseling. I think I have dealt best as I can with the loss. Let me give it another try.
Before you gave it another try, what did you do with the worth part? Am I worthy because I have a child? Am I worthy because I fall pregnant to full term?
I'll tell you, I suppressed it. I didn't deal with it.
Right. Wow.
I grieved the baby more than working on my own worth at that time. So I remained a person who felt unworthy, even though I was still going to give it another try.
Right.
I
Right.
fell pregnant the second time, of course, still on the treatment. So it meant it was, multiple doctors' visits, and at some point they started to feel very, very invasive. It's like you don't have a time to breathe.
Yes.
And he was not very keen on going to those appointments with me at the time. I think because he maybe didn't just know how to support me in that moment, because it's not something that is very usual.
Yeah.
So I fell pregnant for the second time. Then I think it was maybe around 18 or 16 weeks there. When we went, that time he went with me to the doctor, because now I was pregnant. He was interested in seeing.
Okay, now the baby is here.
The baby is here. We now want to see, right? And we went to that ultrasound, and the doctor said, no, you are having twins. But because I was cancelled because I was on my own when I started the treatment.
Yes.
I was cancelled that taking this ovulation induction drugs means that you have a higher chance of falling pregnant with multiple babies.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily say twins. He said
just
multiples.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah,
right.
Because they could be more than two.
Yes.
So I was prepared. He was excited.
Oh, he was happy. Okay.
He was excited,
right.
Because now, we are having twins, right?
And you, what about your worth? What about, yes, you were prepared to that it might, but the fact that now you are pregnant and it's actually a double pregnancy, what does it do to that state of mind of suppressing whether?
Gave me a little bit more confidence in myself,
right,
at the time. But that confidence was very short-lived, because I went from very, very confident, excited that it's twins, to, oh my goodness, what if something goes wrong?
Oh, why would you go there?
Because something has gone wrong before.
Right.
Something has gone wrong before. So I was like, oh my goodness, what if something goes wrong? Now I don't only have to worry about myself and one baby. Now I have to worry about myself and two babies. And looking at the type of harshness of my job at that time, I was extremely anxious, because we used to work very unreasonable hours under a lot of pressure, and I wondered to myself, am I going to even have enough to nurture this pregnancy? I mean, we used to have days where you would go to work and not be able to eat the whole day until at the end of the day. And I started to ask myself, oh my goodness, are these circumstances not going to speak a bad outcome?
So you, at that time, you're a doctor in a hospital?
Yes.
You're not running a practice of your own?
I was still an intern at that time.
Okay.
So internship is very tough, because you are expected to know everything, yet it is your first job contact, if I might. So you've got no job experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of learning at a very high pace, under a lot of pressure. So that gave me anxiety. So for that pregnancy, the entire pregnancy, I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop, that, oh my goodness, it's terrible. I mean, I had to make very tight means to make it to my appointments on time, to go and see the doctor and stuff like that. And being a young doctor, you just think, you know what, at those checkups, all we do is ultrasounds. There are many ultrasounds.
You can
in the
ultrasound
hospital.
yourself.
I can ultrasound myself. So that's what we used to do. Every time I felt anxious, maybe I didn't feel the babies moving, I would always grab a friend and say, hey, let's go and do an ultrasound and check if my baby's hearts are still beating. We used to do that all the time. And somewhere in that third trimester, I was, looking forward. At that time, I was preparing for maternity leave. I was already starting to buy things.
Motherhood is here now. You can see it.
It's a clear vision. And I already knew the gender of my babies. So it allowed me to shop. The absolute joy of going to shop and buy those little socks and all that. So a very exciting period.
Right.
But there was a day where I woke up and I was supposed to go to work on a Saturday. And the minute I got to work, it was busy. I was working in emergencies at that time. And I was very busy. You even forget that you didn't eat or you
are carrying now your trimester and it's twins.
So I was in emergencies, but trauma part of emergencies. So we're dealing with people who had car accidents, who fell off something and broke your leg kind of situation. So I remember that I went into this consulting room with this patient and I needed to put a cast on his leg. Very tall man, very big man. And I looked at that leg and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to lift this leg. So I called one of the sisters to come and support me. And the sister walked in. And the minute she walked in, she was like, no, we are not going to do this. You go and see another patient. I'll call another doctor to come and do this. So the time it took me, I had to push one patient into theater. I walked pushing this patient. And when I was supposed to walk back, I felt something on the side of my stomach just drop, Wow. And I thought to myself, what could that be? And, with the innocence of my mind, I thought to myself, it must be because I'm hungry. Because I haven't eaten since I started this shift. I went and I sat in the coffee room and I tried to drink some tea, but I just couldn't get it in. Took a couple of sips and I started vomiting. So one of the senior doctors that was working with us that time said to me, hey, doc, I think we should take you to next door in the casualty where they see non-trauma patients. So they took me to the next door and the doctor saw me there and gave me, a few tablets to take the nausea away and that kind of a thing. And when I was having a conversation with my friend at the end of the shift, she was like, I think you should call your guy and talk to him about this feeling. So I spoke to the gynae and the gynae was like, wherever you are, go straight to the hospital and get into the maternity ward and have them check the babies. So I did that. The sister who helped me had, this face of emptiness at the end. She didn't tell me anything, but I just looked at her face and I read between the lines.
And I suppose
was like,
even her energy started communicating.
So I had her as she walked out of that room where we were, and she met another one of her colleagues, and she just said, "Yo, shame, man."
But you overheard that.
Yes, I overheard that. She was like, "Oh, shame, man."
And remember, you were carrying the fact that what if something goes wrong?
So before anyone even told me what was happening, I was already an emotional wreck because I overheard that shame. I was already worried. My friend was worried, so I sort of interpreted that situation in a very difficult way. So by the time doctor arrived for us to go and do a proper ultrasound,
Yeah.
I was not in an emotional state to be able to absorb anything. So we did the ultrasound, and then
It's in the same day.
yeah, it's within the same day, because of course he felt that it was an emergency, when he was thinking back at my history
Right.
of
Yes.
what I've been through.
Yes,
So
of course,
in
of
medicine,
course.
when someone struggles with infertility, when they fall pregnant, we often refer to those babies as precious cargo, because we understand the emotional state of the parent at that time, because they had a difficult journey getting there.
Right.
So he comes, we do the ultrasound, and in my mind, I couldn't ask questions, and I didn't want to look. Remember,
Yes,
I can look at my own ultrasound, and
and you can be able to interpret it, unlike
before you
us.
tell me anything,
I know.
I will be able to see if there's something wrong, and even the right things I can see. For example, when we went to go and check the genders, I confirmed the genders myself.
Yes.
He told me, and I still looked. I said, no, show me the one that you say is a girl. He showed me, and I confirmed that, okay, yes, that looks like a girl. And then show me the one that you say is a boy. He showed me, and then I could confirm that I see also that it's a boy.
Yes.
So we went to do that ultrasound. And the minute he just put that probe there, I could see that, okay, this other person is not doing what is supposed to happen. So
You looked.
yes, I looked, despite the fact that I said to myself, I don't want to look, because
Yeah.
I was crying. It was really difficult.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
I looked, and because he could see that I looked, he didn't really say it to me that the baby didn't make it. He said it to my husband at the time. Said
Okay,
to him,
at least he's
okay,
with you.
The young man didn't make it. I remember those were his words. The young man didn't make it.
So they are twins.
Yes. One is a girl.
One is
the
a boy.
other one is a boy.
The boy didn't make it.
The boy didn't make it.
Wow.
Yeah. So husband didn't really show me much of a reaction in that sitting. So he just asked a few questions to the doctor. Is the girl going to be okay? Are we safe to continue with the rest of the pregnancy? And if we do,
No, hang on.
what
The
is
other one didn't make it.
Yes.
The other one has made it. What do you do? What's continuing with the pregnancy? How does that work?
Because at that time, because it's an intrauterine fetal death, most
That's a big word.
most
for us who
it's just a baby who died in the uterus. Okay. So most doctors do not deliver those babies as emergencies. But my situation was different in that I also was carrying another
living
one who
baby.
was alive. So I started to go scientist after my husband asked those questions. I felt like he left the questions halfway, right? So I wanted to ask further questions now, but about the baby who is alive.
Alive, yes.
So I was worried about her weight, because I knew in my medical mind that if she is a certain weight, she doesn't qualify for certain things. So I was obsessed with her being above 1 kilogram, because I knew that at 1 kilogram she qualifies for the best of the best that we can possibly give her in order to make sure that she survives.
But surviving within the womb.
No, surviving outside the womb.
Also, at the time, you are sitting with the choice of, do we deliver both of them, or do we
wait and make sure that the other one is the correct weight, in order to make sure that she survives the
What
birth?
a difficult decision.
So that was very
to
difficult,
make.
but I think my gynae was a kind old man. You know, he said to me, "Mommy, there is nothing that we can do to change the situation for the young man.
Yeah.
But what we do now changes the situation for you and the little girl.
Yes.
So I want you to go home, because I find that people think better when they are in their own familiar environment." Remember, I was admitted
Yes. Yes.
that afternoon because of that feeling that I had. So he said, "No, go home, sleep at home,
Yes.
and come to the rooms bright and early tomorrow morning, and here is a letter for you to submit at work."
At
I
work, yes.
submitted the letter, and of course they understood. You know, they just said to me, "No, you'll bring us the letter when a full letter when you come back, whatever the situation might be." So we measured the weight. The weight was good, but for me, I wanted to wait. I was having decision fatigue. I wanted to be able to grieve my son while he was still inside of me,
What?
because I didn't want, I questioned whether I have the capacity as an inexperienced mother to receive life and death
At the
at the same time.
But you were carrying life and death at the same
I was
time.
carrying life and death at the same time, but I was struggling mentally to say, if I go into cesarean section now, am I ready to observe my living child and my dead one at the same time? Remember, when you see a child on an ultrasound and when you see them in real, they are not the same. So I struggled with that a little bit, and doctor was like, "Yeah, we should be admitting you, we should be doing this Caesar." But you know, days are progressing, and as much as he waited for me to
Go home and think.
go home and think, that process of going home and thinking and grieving was interrupted by the fact that after that discharge, I started to not feel well myself. So I started to have an uncontrollable amount of swelling. And at a certain point, I remember panicking because I couldn't hear the baby move. You know, I was used to the fact that when I eat something, then the baby would play and I would feel that. So that was reassuring for me. So even if I just took, you know, a little sweet, just for her to reassure me that she's still okay, that would suffice for me to survive a day. You know what I mean? So
every
that
day
time,
you have to now start. You are so present in this pregnancy now.
I was listening to every single thing that was happening in my body. And some of those things become very depressing. Like I remember complaining to my husband, saying that, you know, it is difficult for me to sleep, because you can imagine if you have to change side, the other person is not alive, so they are not able to cushion that movement for you. So when you turn, you feel a certain level of heaviness, and you start to ask yourself, "Oh my goodness, I turned on this side. Where is the girl and where is the boy? Because is he not lying on top of of his sister?" You know, that kind of psychology.
What a battle.
And because of that, I think the decision of the doctor to say, "Now I'm giving you no option but to admit you and deliver you."
That was after how long after you thought about it?
I think I maybe took two weeks or a week and a couple of days. But that week and a couple of days was absolute torture.
The longest
it
of your
felt
life.
It felt like it was a whole year of this constant battle of the mind to say. And at some point, I remember thinking to myself and even laughing at myself, because I thought to myself, the way I'm so stressed, is this baby even going to grow? Because I'm keeping them both in because I want this one to grow. But I am so stressed. I have no appetite. I am vomiting. I am swollen everywhere. what amount of growth is this child having? Wouldn't she have a better circumstance outside than my stressed out, broken apart body?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
But why didn't you? What got you to want to try to keep holding on for extra days?
holding on for extra days meant I had extra days of her being alive.
Yo.
It is important.
And is that based
because
because you have the knowledge of how it works,
I
or was there
have-
something
I
else?
have the knowledge of, the amount of complications that can happen to a preterm baby.
Right.
Premature babies have a lot of complications, and you might deliver them alive, and somewhere along that NICU journey they might not make it. So I was having double fear. I had already lost one, and I was prepared to do anything that is humanly possible to keep the other one alive, even if that meant watching myself fall apart, piece by piece during that process, because I
Thought
was
by
very
thought.
sick. I was extremely sick.
But you were sick physically.
But but
the
the mental
emotion-
state
yeah,
and
yeah.
the emotional state
Yeah.
was also in ICU itself.
Wow.
And I don't think there was anything good or anything bad that my husband could say that would make me snap out of that deep hole that I was in. And
Motherhood.
And I said to myself, wow, these things that I want, the price to pay to
Get them.
is very
It's
hefty.
very high.
It is a hefty price. And eventually, my doctor was a little bit angry with me.
For not making the decision?
Because I was not able to make the decision.
And what about your husband? So he left it to you. He just wanted you to be comfortable about whatever decision.
I will tell you, not to speak for him or anything, but I was very difficult to deal with in that state. I couldn't see anybody's reason. Whether that person was a doctor or was my husband or was my friend or was whoever, I couldn't see reason.
Yeah.
Because I felt that there was no one around me who understood my fear and its magnitude.
Yeah, because
I felt like they made the decision seem like it was light. And maybe for them it was. But for me,
you just needed to be there. You can't really, I don't know, the difference between I understand and I relate.
Yeah, no one could relate.
Yeah.
And I doubted very much whether my husband understood at that time. Because I also didn't have the words to explain what I was feeling, whether to the doctor or to him. I couldn't. I just kept saying, you guys don't understand. I can't do that now. It's because you don't understand. And eventually, funny thing, on the day that I got admitted to go and deliver, I actually, in that very sick state, I drove myself to the hospital. My husband was working at night, and I tried to call him and he wasn't picking up, and I just thought, you know what, he's at work, so let me carry on with the business of the day.
You had an appointment, you had made a decision.
I didn't have
it's
an
just
appointment.
You were too sick at that.
I was too sick.
Yeah.
So I sort of felt that I had reached my limit of tolerance for the amount of unwellness I had. So I came back from work. I still went to work.
You were still working?
I was still working.
Swollen, sick,
yes,
mentally?
I was still working. I worked
everywhere.
until the day before my Caesar. So I went to work on the 23rd of August.
But you had a sick note. Why didn't you?
I went to work. My
When you
sick
were booked
note
off?
expired.
Oh.
And my maternity leave was not yet approved. So I went to work.
And be a
So,
doctor.
Yes, I went. I remember that that
The
week
price.
that week I was working in anesthesia, so that's where we put people to sleep
Yes.
for operations.
Yes.
I was working with the most beautiful senior doctor. She realized that I was sick. I mean, you had to only just look at me once and you would see that this person is not well. So that entire shift, she had me sit in the doctor's room and just relax. So she would come time and again just to check on me. How are you feeling? Are you breathing okay? Can you walk? Let's take a walk, that kind of thing. So she consistently checked on me, which was a very nice thing. And I got admitted on that 23rd at night.
So you had made a decision, I am having this baby now.
Yeah.
And,
so
the grieving, you did speak about grieving?
Yes. I felt like I had done enough crying.
Okay. Of the boy.
Of the boy.
Okay.
And I felt like I have taken as much anxiety as I could possibly take about the girl.
Yeah.
So I drove home after work, got home, I bathed, I prepared myself.
You bathed?
No, I bathed.
Oh, okay. I thought,
I took a bath.
Yeah.
And I took all the things that I
That you
had bought
need,
for the baby,
yeah.
and I put them in my boot, and I drove myself to the hospital.
Yeah.
When I got to the hospital parking, I couldn't get out of the car. My legs just couldn't carry me. And I remember I parked and I put my forehead on
the steering wheel.
on the steering wheel,
Yeah.
on the place where you press the hooter.
Yeah.
And I just pressed.
And it was hooting all
And
the
it
way.
was hooting all the way. And because of that hooting, the parking attendant,
the porters or the security?
No, the security that was guarding the cars
Yes.
in the hospital parking, came and knocked on my window. But I was crying so bad, I didn't lift my head from that steering wheel, so the hood kept on going, much to the disturbance of everyone else. And I could hear just at the back of my mind people shouting, "Why don't you help her? Why don't you help her?" And he went and collected, a wheelchair and came and opened the door and he introduced himself and he said he's going to help me to get me inside the hospital. So he carried me to that chair and left the car keys in the ignition. I mean, I was not in the right state of mind to remember that.
This car keys, switch it off, take it out,
take it out, lock the car, and all that, and take your purse because they need your purse. I didn't remember any of those things. Put me on the wheelchair, and he started running. And when he got to the reception, the gentleman at reception, by some dint of luck, remembered me from my previous admission. So he said to him, "Just run and take her to maternity. Then you will come back and we will solve the issue of the file and whatever."
Yeah.
So when I got to maternity, the sister who was working there asked for my husband's number. I gave it. And then he called him to say, "Hey, listen, Pella,
we are delivering.
She's here, and doctor says we are going to deliver." And obviously, in that preparatory period, they needed to take bloods. He wanted to do an ultrasound before going to theater because I said to him, I cannot feel the baby move anymore. And when we went to do the ultrasound, we still did the ultrasound the same night.
Yeah.
When we went to do the ultrasound, the man could not find the baby.
The girl now.
No baby could be seen because I was so swollen that we could only just see the water, because ultrasound is water sensitive. It's not like a scan. So we tried our best in that ultrasound.
I'm sure your heart is sinking
every
at that.
possible probe, and I am screaming to the top of my lungs because I remember asking him when we got out. He said, listen, I can feel the baby with my hand, and because you can't feel her move, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So we need to go and do that Caesar. So as he is willing me to theater, I say to him, Doctor, you mean that I am going to have a cesarean section scar with no babies? What are you saying about that? And he was like, at this point, we don't have a choice. It is the situation that we find ourselves in. Hopefully, when we get to theater, the other baby will remain alive the way we saw on the last ultrasound that was successful. Went to theater, crying like that. And when we got there, the anesthetist said to me, Mami, I think we need to do this under general anesthesia because I'm not happy about your emotional state. And I said to her, I think so too. Let us do it under general anesthesia for two reasons. I do not want to see the boy.
Wow. Because you've already grieved him?
I have already grieved him. I don't need to see him in the state that I know he will be in. Right? Because there is something called a macerated stillborn, which means the baby had time to decompose within the abdomen before he was taken out. I don't think I was going to survive that vision.
You see, you know. And
Because I know.
Yeah.
So that was my first reason for wanting anesthesia. And number two, I was an emotional wreck. I doubted that if that little girl came out alive, I doubted that I was going to be able to experience joy in that setting. So I said to them, her father is here. If she comes out and she is alive, please allow him to cut the cord and allow him to hold the baby before you take the baby away. That was our agreement.
Request,
And they allowed, and they gave him the option to say, do you want to see the other baby? And he said yes. So that was a good deal for him as their father.
Yeah.
So I went under general anesthesia, and I remember that they showed me this very pink little girl when I woke up in recovery. The situation was so dire that despite the fact that I delivered by general anesthesia, they didn't take the baby to NICU because she was able to breathe on her own. She was okay, and she was an okay weight that she didn't need to be in an incubator. So they kept her there in a little bassinet so that I could wake up. So after I woke up, they showed me this prettiest little thing.
And the joy.
And the absolute joy of it. Remembering that I was extremely sick. But I remember even my gynae and the pediatrician saying to me in recovery, saying, it is the first time in the entire 7 to 8 months of your pregnancy that we see you smile.
Smile. Oh my
Because you have been such a sad person throughout this whole thing. And I think even my husband was surprised that, oh my goodness, you still have a smile.
Wow.
When was the last time I saw you smile? Probably the last time I saw you smile was when I met you. You know, because it was really very, very difficult. And I think the joy of actually succeeding and having an alive baby couldn't do enough to salvage that marriage.
Oh, no.
Yes. Because I think we had broken each other too much.
Right.
That the baby arriving couldn't erase the amount of pain that we went through while I was pushing forward with wanting to
be a mother,
experience motherhood.
Motherhood.
So after that, even though we experienced joy together, looking at this little one that we have created, but we could never go back to a place of love, to being a couple, to actually doing things that normal couples do. We couldn't get there. So I delivered, and as any other African girl, when you deliver your first baby, you want to go to your mother. And I wanted so badly to go to my mother, because I knew that my marriage was not good. The pregnancy was difficult. The marriage was difficult. The delivery was difficult. So I just wanted to be home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least that he granted me, because after I delivered, he drove me and took me to my mother's house, and I stayed there for a little while just to try and recover. And by the time I went back to my house to go back to work,
Yeah.
there was no marriage.
There was no marriage. That
There
was
was
the
no
end
marriage.
of it, yeah.
It was just two people
Who had a child together.
trying to coexist and raise a child. And for me, it was my first experience of motherhood, and I was very, very happy. I had an absolute joy to finally get there.
Yeah.
But for him, I felt like his reaction was watered down, because he was already a parent.
Yeah.
So he didn't share that excitement.
yeah.
I didn't find anything that could
Hold
bring
you
us
together.
back together.
Yeah.
Because he was, relaxed. I mean, it's not his first child. He's not surprised by everything. I mean, I was surprised by everything. I could finally say, this looks like me, and this looks like the father, and what. And he didn't have that excitement. And I think in that period where I was focused on the baby, in terms of marriage, we drifted further and further apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And eventually the marriage didn't survive, so we parted ways. And
How long after the baby was born?
I mean, we parted ways when Lev was 4 months old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think then
So when I
the
went,
build up was a lot.
Yeah, when I went back to work, I was already, for all intents and purposes, broken up. But we were still living in the same house, and still, doing our best to raise the baby together. But the end of that year meant it was the end of internship for me. And it meant I had an opportunity to choose a different thing.
Yeah.
So for that reason, after that internship ended, I selected to go back to Limpopo to go and be a medical officer in Limpopo. So that,
and that was also informed by the fact that the marriage was no more.
The marriage was no more. And in my heart of hearts, I had accepted that the marriage was no more, even though I didn't say it with my mouth to him. So by the time I moved to go to Limpopo, it's when then the families met, and then they spoke to us, and I told them that for me, it's the end of the road for me. I don't see that I can forgive anything or I can rectify anything at this point. And I felt that I had gone through the majority of my struggle on my own.
Yeah.
So I wasn't afraid of being alone.
Because it's nothing new to you.
Yeah, it was.
As much as him having a child is nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also my being alone was not a scary thing for me.
Yeah.
So that is where it ended. And then I opened the next chapter of being a single mom.
What makes the great great? There's a lot that makes the great great.
Yes.
And I salute you.
Thank you.
For a lot of things just in this part. The two dreams that you had, being a doctor, being a mother, the amount of fighting to take it by force
Yes.
is at such a high price.
Very, very hefty price.
It is at such a high price, and many of us would have given up from the part of like we were not admitted and we got cum laude, so why should I continue? Many of us would have given up when we failed. Many of us would have given up after the first miscarriage. Many of us would have given up and not go that extra 2 weeks to try and save the baby. I can't even imagine what type of grieving you went through with another baby. You're grieving one and you must be joyful for
the
another.
other.
When you make decisions, you acted on them, you decided, I'm going to the doctor, I'm going to deliver this child, and you decided this marriage is not existing anymore. These are strangers. Just to wrap up this part, with me first saying thank you for sharing us for letting us into your world. I'm growing, and I know I'm not the only one that's going to benefit, that is growing in this. And again, I want to say I really, really salute you. And I want to thank you for being a fighter.
Yes.
Motherhood, for some of us, I think it just comes and we experience certain things later, but there is something very, very precious about motherhood. I think every mother has a story to tell.
Exactly.
And it's different for different people at different seasons. So if you take this part of your life, and with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of the woman that you have become now, what do you think are the thoughts and the holding pillars that kept you through that period of your life? If I would ask you to speak to anyone who's going through, we've touched on so many milestones, anyone who's gone through at least one of the milestones that you've gone through, what are those thoughts? Because thoughts are indeed things. And they are real and live things. What would you tell another Tracy out there?
I think the most important thing is that your dreams are valid no matter the circumstances.
Yeah.
I think that would sum it up for me.
Yeah.
That if you knew at the end
Yeah.
what the beginning and the journey would look like, I think most of us would have chickened out of our own lives.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Wherever they are in their lives at this point, they must just remember that their dreams are valid, and it doesn't matter what circumstances they have to go through in order to reach those dreams.
And that's what got you to hold on,
Yes,
even for the dream of being a mother.
exactly.
The marriage was always a
was
by
always
the
a
way.
by the way.
By the way.
And,
it was a plus one.
And I think I created a by the way.
Because you had it as a by the way in your mind.
I had it as a by the way.
The power of thoughts.
The power of
Talk
thoughts.
to that, because there's a power of thought that got you what you wanted at the end, at a price, of course. What about the power of thoughts that created the marriage? What's your, again, with the benefit of hindsight,
Yes.
what thoughts do?
First of all, going into the marriage, I didn't really place much from the beginning, let's say.
Yeah.
Going into romantic relationships, I didn't really place much value in romantic relationships from the time I started dating. So I didn't place much value into them. And then I went into a marriage, going into a marriage, but with a different goal. So the only thing that would make the marriage good for me was for me to realize my dream of being a mother. So my thoughts were not creating a positive marriage situation. It was just creating motherhood and creating medicine.
So, wow. That's heavy.
Yes.
I listened to someone who said, you are where you are today because of your thoughts.
Yes.
You've got what you've got because of your thoughts. Would you attest to that?
I agree with that 100%. Because every positive or negative thing that happens in our lives We get to be the people we are because of the thoughts we keep.
Right.
Yeah. The situation might be bad. It might be one that you didn't prepare for.
Yes.
But your thoughts through that process
Yes.
is going to make you a certain person.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, I kept the positive thoughts for the positive goals that I had, but also my negative thoughts created a lot of negative things as well in that journey. My journey is not perfect. So I don't want anyone out there thinking, oh, she's there where she is because, she did everything right.
Right.
No, there are places where I made mistakes, and those mistakes were costly.
Yeah.
To decide that all you want your husband to be is your train to motherhood is not necessarily a good way of looking at a marriage.
Yeah.
Because that, I think, in a way also affected him, the way he could show me love or show me support.
Yeah.
Because all I wanted from him was for him to
Make
help
you a
me
mother.
be a mother.
So you were broadcasting, because they say our minds
Yes.
and thoughts, they are transmitters and broadcasters.
So
You
I
were
think my energy towards him was also not good.
Yeah.
Because he was only good enough to get me to motherhood and not through the rest of marriage
Yeah.
and what would be a loving relationship between two people.
Yeah.
So I think in a way, he also got the short end of the stick in that, because he was getting married for the first time. I was getting married for the first time. So I think my thoughts and my behaviors made that marriage difficult for both of us.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you again for letting us in and for these lessons, because sometimes we talk about that thoughts are things, as a man thinketh, so is he. So all of those things. But what you've taken us through a journey that you've walked, a life that you've lived, is attesting to that thoughts are things.
Thoughts are things.
And things that are tangible, and we are who we are because of what we think. I really do thank you. And there we are. We've just experienced a very transformational, powerful, impactful journey that Dr. Tracy has gone through. This is not just a journey to be a doctor, not just a medical journey, but it's a journey to motherhood. It's a mental journey. It's a journey of thoughts.
Yes.
And we also saw what happens when you are driven by your burning desire, which in a way also informs what your purpose, your why is. We also witnessed, for me, this is the first time where I witness physical carriage, or very physical carrying of what is joyful and alive and what is no longer alive and carries grief in the same womb. The womb where we birth things, the womb that even spiritually will say, I'm pregnant, I'm going to birth something. But this time, what makes the great great? This is what makes the great. For me, this is greatest. Maybe it's just not great. This is greatest. Yeah. But we are reminded of persistence. We are reminded that our spiritual strength, our emotional strength has a lot to do with what we see. We're reminded of what happens inside before we can see it outside. And we're also reminded about how the external self, the external things that we look at, when we take them in and let them define us, how they come out to be. This is the end of our conversation, as I call it, In Conversation with Greatness. This is true greatness. I am Lerato Sithole, the founder of Think and Grow Rich Africa, and your host. And stay with me. We are taking this journey of Dr. Tracy. I will see you next time. Thank you.